This video is going to show some of the most insane tech you'll ever see in Overwatch, and I promise that you've never seen Moira Orbs bounce like this. If you don't know who Moira is, she's one of Overwatch's 12 healers, and one of her abilities allows her to throw either a damage or a healing orb. But there's one problem. Every time I try to search up Moira Orb lineups, I get these videos that are half a decade or more old. Like this video is showing me a lineup about Moira. So I'm giving you something better. In this video, I'm going to share confidential information on how Moira lineups work, as well as give you an introduction to 3 brand new types of Moira lineups. Then I'm going to demonstrate 5 unreleased lineups that I guarantee you've never seen before. If at least one of these lineups are helpful or impressive to you, let me know in the comments below. Hope you enjoy. Before we begin, I'm going to teach you how Moira Orbs work, what issues there are with throwing Moira Orbs, and what perks you need to pick for Moira to be the most effective. Let's start off with a short quiz and test your Moira Orb knowledge. If I wanted to throw an orb at an enemy Roadhog, but there was a breakable railing in between me and Roadhog, can I throw the orb through the gap in the railing? I'll give you 3 seconds to answer. The answer is no, you cannot. And those who got it wrong, that's okay, because actually, that was a trick question. You see, Moira Orbs sometimes go through breakable railings, but it depends on which type of railing it is. For example, on Circuit Royale, you'll see the first railing doesn't allow me to throw an orb through it, but the second railing will allow me as long as I don't hit anywhere on the actual railing itself. For question 2, is there a limit to how many bounces an orb can make? So as you can see, no, there's not a bounce limit. For the final question, if I throw an orb at the right side of this wall, will it bounce to the left, to the right, or straight back at me? So although it bounces to the right, I'd actually expect this orb to bounce straight back at me because of the angle of the walls. However, sometimes the orb doesn't act in the way that you would expect it to. So there's 2 major issues with Moira Orbs. One you're seeing on your screen, which is that Moira Orbs can actually disappear. This is very hard to replicate, but when it happens, it can completely mess up your game. Here's another angle showing how the orb can just disappear simply by hitting an object wrong. The second issue happens when the Moira Orb only travels one direction, but it cannot come back the other way in the same direction. Here you'll see me throw an orb at a Widow through the window, and it goes the whole way through. However, when I try to throw an orb through the other side of the window, it doesn't allow me to throw it through, meaning that it's a one-way window. Before I show you orb lineups, I'm going to talk about perks a little bit. There are going to be 2 perks that are obvious to pick because they're the only 2 perks that relate to Moira Orbs. The first one is Ethical Nourishment, which allows Healing Orb to instantly heal 30 health for each team member. The second one's Reversal, which can be used to recall an orb back along its path. I wouldn't say this perk is necessarily helpful for Moira Orb lineups unless you have an intricate knowledge on how to use it. That all being said, some of these perks might change in the future. We've already seen that happen in the past. Hopefully there will be stronger Moira Orb perks coming soon. I'm going to show you 5 insane lineups. Hope you enjoy. The first lineup is for Route 66. What you're going to do is you're going to walk out of spawn and pinch yourself in the corner. You're then going to look up at the rock and aim on the corner of the rock, but slightly up and to the left. This is very precise. If done properly, you should see this orb bounce at about a 45-degree angle off of the rock. Here's an aerial shot of what the orb path looks like. I definitely recommend you practice this with a friend first because this is so hard to do. The next map is Nepal, but specifically the village capture point. This lineup is dependent on which side of the map you're spawned in. If the path to the high ground is on the high side to your left, what you're going to do is turn around and pinch yourself against the fire extinguisher. You're then going to look up at this roof and aim for the corner. It doesn't have to be super precise, but you want to aim roughly where I'm aiming. Once you're ready, go ahead and throw. If you've done this lineup correctly, it'll look like it bounces straight down. To show you the opposite side, it's basically the same thing, except you're going to pinch yourself at the left of spawn instead of the right. You're still going to aim for the roof, although it's a little bit harder to hit on this side, and then you're going to throw. This will also just bounce straight down. Here's what the lineup looks like from an aerial point of view. This one's probably my favorite one to use. The next map is Antarctic Peninsula. What you're going to do is you're going to walk out of spawn and put yourself in between the doorway. You're then going to see the boxes and you want to put yourself in the middle of them. There's going to be a light and you're going to aim along the white bar above the light. Kind of where I'm aiming. Once you're ready, go ahead and throw. And just like Nepal, I'm going to show you the other side of the map. You're going to walk out of spawn and go into the door, just like the other side. Pinch yourself between the boxes. Look up from the light. And on the gray area, you're going to throw your orb. Here's what the orb lineup looks like. You see there's a lot of bounces and a lot of potential to catch enemies at the choke. The next map is Circuit Royale. What you want to do is walk out of spawn on the right side where the stairs are at. And then you're going to center yourself in between these two pillars. Finally, aim between the bottom right of the window shutter and the column. Once you're ready, go ahead and throw. I specifically designed this lineup to keep bouncing within the small room in case anybody is hiding or is low health. And for the last lineup, we have Shambhala Monastery. You're going to walk out of spawn and go through the window on defense. You'll need to stand directly on top of this circular object, and then you're going to take your crosshair and aim directly in the middle of the roof. There's a very thin slit that the orb can go through, and if you aim it correctly, it will actually bounce back at you. The benefit to this type of lineup is if someone's not there the first time, it can come back and hit them the second time. It also checks twice for flankers in the health pack room. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed, make sure to subscribe on YouTube and you can watch me on Twitch and TikTok. Thanks.